Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the Jesse Reeves Show. Today we have a very special guest. We've got my very good friend Finn Johansson, who I met doing the Dev Academy course. How are you doing today, Finn? How's your morning / afternoon going?
I'm doing great, thanks, Jesse. Thank you for having me on the show. It's I'm a long time watcher, first time caller in, so it's really nice to just be here chatting with you.
Yep.
Yeah.
Epic.
Hey, good. How's your day?
Just great. You know, get pissed the night before and then forget that you have to do an interview, and then here we are. Here we are.
I kind of do want to say this again for the audience at home, but the only reason I remember we had an interview was because I saw my own taped together microphone in my van and thought of you.
Yep. This is some premium production value right here with this microphone. Let's just crack straight into some of these questions. So why don't you tell us a little bit about your background? Like you're a musician, right? So I'm interested in figuring out how you got into being a musician and what inspired you to get into it to start with.
Awesome, that's great. I'm a part-time, full-time musician, which I guess we'll get into details on later. But I have loved playing and writing songs, writing music, playing music for my whole life, since I was 10 or something. I guess that's not my whole life, 2/3 of my life. And just always really liked songwriting and playing guitar. And yeah, I guess that's broadly it.
Tell us a little bit about your music style. What sort of stuff do you like to make? Like, what do you have a particular genre that you go for? Or
started off country folk real hard and blues when I was a teen.
Yep.
I was really into Stevie Ray Vaughan and Jimi Hendrix. It should be the other way around, but talk to 15-year-old me. So I got my Fender Stratocaster, my matte black one.
Oh yeah,
and played 12-bar blues jams, heaps of that shit, and then got really into Bob Dylan, Ryan Adams. Talk to fucking 19-year-old me about that.
Yeah.
You see on Reddit, people are fucking, your taste in music crystallizes at age 13, which is why blah 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 blah. And I'm like, I think that's pseudo-scientific at best. I haven't had that experience at all with my interest in genres. I don't think. What about you? Do you ever find that? I know we're all attached to the songs from our youth in a nostalgic way, but do you think your musical taste is changing?
Yeah, it's an interesting one for sure. The first music that I was really I grew up as a stark Christian, and I wasn't actually allowed to listen to non-Christian music ever, really, for my entire life.
Wow.
So the first time I actually was exposed to non-Christian music was with Guitar Hero. The PlayStation game Guitar Hero. And
big fan.
Yeah, there were songs like Van Halen and some Slayer, Avenged Sevenfold, that sort of thing. And I was like, fuck, metal's fucking sick. And then
How did they let that slip past? How did your parents let that fucking slip past their grasp?
Well, I guess they figured because it was a video game, it
couldn't be harmful for their children?
Yes.
That's not a very Christian thing to think.
Yeah, the devil got me eventually through that
and
Van Halen.
Got his talons in you,
Yep. Yeah, then I found my own stuff with Slipknot. Slipknot was probably my first favorite metal band. Avenged Sevenfold, and then I just went down the path of metal for ages after that. And I still listen to metal now. So, but my music taste has definitely expanded to where I'll listen to, I'll have seasons where I listen to just pop, I'll listen to jazz, hip hop, rap, instrumental stuff. Like the metal I like at the moment is barely has any screaming in it. It's really, really amazing lyric writing and clean singing with beautiful harmonies. But then you listen to the drum work and the guitar work, and it's just the most technical, amazing stuff you've ever heard.
Yeah.
I love that shit. I wanted to ask you about, because you used to live in Wellington, and I wanted to ask you about what the move from Wellington to Auckland was like for you. What inspired that change, or what made you decide that was the right thing to do?
Totally. I mean, I feel as though I'd never gone to university before, because I really didn't want to when I left high school. I'm 30 now. And now I just really wanted to chase the dream of being a game designer. making games, like video games,
Mm.
interactive experiences. And so I tried to teach myself that. Like I'm sort of half self-taught with music and half not. Probably more self-taught than not. But that just like it was too hard to do, too hard to teach myself, or like I didn't get the hooks in. So I'm doing like a tertiary thing, especially like with the first year free seemed like a good idea.
Yeah.
And then my friend Laura was like, "Oh, Dev Academy is doing a free thing." So I was like, I basically went to open Dev Academy to then fucking uniing it. Venture to guess that my reasons for being at the Dev Academy were different from everybody else.
Yeah. Yeah, I can relate with that as well. I was just saying last night that when I went through Dev Academy, I didn't even know the whole time if I wanted to be a developer at the end. It was, and I found out my reasonings for going was actually to, as like a segue to escape from the my old life that I had.
How is that going?
Well, for those of you who don't know, I was an ex professional musician, and just throughout different ups and downs, didn't quite end up in the place that I wanted to be, and I used I wanted to do something different, and then but I wasn't quite sure what I wanted to do, and this was just the perfect kind of segue. Only 3 months out of that and then into something new, so still figuring it out, but yeah, that was
what do you reckon is different about the Jesse now than the Jesse before that?
This is like a constant thing I think about, and I think it basically boils down to my old life. My entire identity was wrapped around a musical instrument, where I didn't know who I was really without holding a guitar or holding a bass, and people knew me for holding the instrument, but they had never really, apart from my closest friends, haven't really seen the side of me that wasn't musical. So I guess I'm just on a journey now of trying to find out my identity without a musical instrument.
I think I would really love to be considered a really good songwriter and guitarist and producer and stuff, but like my need for that is like getting in the way. Like that's all kind of obvious shit you hear people say all the time, but I think I'm still in the middle of that, like figuring out.
Yeah. That my brain is too small to comprehend questions like that at the moment.
Yeah, fucking me too, honestly. It's a bit of a mindfuck trying to even like remember to have fun sometimes though.
What's fun to you, Finn?
So I would say going to the trampoline park is fun. Jamming with a band is fun. I've been seeing a lot of bands lately and a lot of actually solo hip hop act. But all of those people just made me want to play in bands even more, or like punk stuff, like all that shit.
Just like thrashy fun punk.
Yeah, but also like intense melodic punk, and like punk means a weird thing these days because it's like, we've got laptops. It's like if punk is the path of least resistance, then that can get kind of slappy.
Now we'll let Finn get a sniff in. Why don't you tell us about
What?
It's just this funny TikTok meme. There's this guy who lets his cats like sniff different things, and one of them's called Melon and one of them's called Finn, and then he's like, now let's let Finn get a sniff in.
And now it's time to let Finn get a sniff in. Finn be with what he sniff.
Finn be with what he sniff. So Finn, you recently undertook a really ambitious venture with the Finn Johansson 9 to 5. So why don't you tell us a bit about that?
Cool, yeah, thanks. So Finn Johansson's 9 to 5 season 1 is the thing that just finished happening. And basically the premise is that I work a 40-hour work week on my music career. So that involves anything you might imagine: writing, producing, recording, sending emails, applying for funding, boring shit, taxes. After the first season, there are a lot of things that I need to think about for the forthcoming season. But so yeah, I work 40-hour work week and I live stream it, so everybody can see what I'm doing pretty much all the time. And then if people subscribe on the Patreon or whatever, like subscribe to pay a certain amount every season / every month that I do it, they give a certain amount of money, and then they get access also to the vault, like the Finn Johansson vault, which is like full of all sorts of crazy fucking shit. Like it's getting added to constantly, but when it's a bit fuller, it'll have like heaps of live shows from the last 7 years, heaps of demos. I released 500 voice memos of like little fragments of songs from my phone.
That's a lot.
And yeah, they would, and it was culled from about like 900, I think. So these are the ones that resemble songs that then have been released or people have heard. So that's kind of cool. Imagine like loving a song by an artist and then you get to hear their voice memo where they came up with that. Like the inherent melody of the song, the hook or whatever, for the first time. They're like walking home from a party and they're like, blah, 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 blah. And then you're like, oh my God, that's the inception of blah, 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 blah.
I just fucking love the idea of doing, you know, your creative career for 40 hours a week, and you managed to pay your rent from it, didn't you?
I did. Yeah. It was just like some of them were one-off donations and shit, but actually I think we managed to get just a little bit more of rent and expenses. So like we managed to do that this month. And yeah, you're right. That's really cool. I love that. The amount of people who wanted to pay and just see me show up every day and take the whole fucking thing a little bit seriously. You know?
Because I know what it's like to write songs. And it can be quite a creatively and mentally draining thing to like pour yourself into some material. How did it make you feel to do that for 40 hours a week? I mean, you're still working on, like, you still have to be creative, even though like you already got the songs written, like in your back catalog. I'm just wondering, like, did you find it like more draining on yourself than like say a normal job, or say when we're at Dev Academy coding?
Well, Dev Academy, for example, was almost like intentionally too intense. And then a normal job, I've never done more than 4 days a week of, like years and years and years ago. But compared to those things, it was really like, it was a lot of work, took a lot of energy. I didn't always want to go in there and make music. Obviously, that kind of is a given, really, when you think about it. But then that's the point, because I wouldn't have to like make myself do a 40-hour work week if I woke up and like felt compelled to do a 40-hour work week of this in the first place.
You made a point where you didn't always feel like being creative when you were doing the 9 to 5. So I'm wondering what your results were like. Even though you powered through and you were still creative, what were the results like, even though you weren't feeling creative at the time?
That's a great question, and I think I can say that the results were good. Like, I'm glad I did. Yeah. And there were a lot of times where powering through really like put the seeds of the problem that I needed to solve in my mind, and then after like doing all that, I'd take a break, and then I was cooking my eggs and my beans, and then the solution would just like place in my head.
So Finn, do you have any words of inspiration or wisdom that you would give to any creators or artistic people out there that are considering doing what you did with the 9 to 5, like going full time, or wanting to give up on their sort of normal retail jobs or whatever, and make a creative career for full time? Do you have any sort of inspiration or wisdom that you would give to them?
Great question, Jesse. And yes, I do. This was part of the thing about this, was that it was the product of putting this idea and like taking it seriously, taking this problem, not immediately discarding it, and then just putting it in the back of your brain so your subconscious can wheedle at it. Yeah. And just believing that it's possible.
Yeah. Plant the seed, eh?
Not in the secret kind of way, like give a fuck if it turns out not to be possible, but like believing that it's not impossible. I just want to say that the reason I love this project so much, and I do, and I've made fucking kick-ass music that is going to be out in a mixtape before season 2, And season 2, I'll announce it here, is coming in November.
Oh
With
shit!
a huge freaking surprise to it. A surprise that is like 3 times bigger than any surprise that you'll ever think of.
Whoa!
Yeah, I feel like I need to be more of a salesman, because the funny thing is I feel very existentially about the 9 to 5, Finn Johansson's 9 to 5. But it's fucking cool.
You heard it here first, folks. Big Finn Johansson announcement.
Season 2 is in November.
Oh, season 2 is in November.
This is the announcement. There
it is.
Right now. Yeah.
So what's next for you, Finn? So you're doing game design, game production at uni at the moment.
Yeah, that's right. We're just in the first semester, doing a lot of algebra.
Fun times, math.
It's actually quite cool once you get the hang of it. And then November season 2, and then a couple of announcements about other things. And before that, mixtape, season 1 mixtape. And so that's going to be 4 or 5 tracks of the ones that I worked on during this thing. I'm polishing them up right now. And
Excellent.
Then
that sounds so good, Finn. I'm so happy that you're just taking your life in your hands and you're doing the creative things that you want to do, whether it be game design or working 40 hours on your music. I'm just so happy for you and proud of you for achieving what you have, and I think you should be super proud.
Thanks so much, Jesse.
No, you're an inspiration, and you inspired me. So
thanks, Jesse.
Well, Finn, it's been awesome having you here. Thank you so much for coming. Your words are very much appreciated, and just thank you so much.
Hey, it's a total pleasure, and I'll be tuning in every Friday for the other stuff.
Fuck yeah.
Tune into the Jesse Reeves show.
Yeah, tune into the Jesse Reeves show.
Tune into the Jesse Reeves show with Fletch, Vaughn, and Chang. That's the edge.
I'll get them. I'll get them in for an interview next.
Yeah, nice.
Awesome.
But the thing you actually have to watch out for is it coming off the top.
I was double parked, so I had a drink in each hand, and we were walking down to the fire pit, and I fucking slipped on the wooden stairs and fell down like 3 stairs flat on my ass in front of like 8 people.
But like while it was happening, did you go whoa 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 whoa?
Just oh god.